Hindsight Radio, the place for right knowledge.
Peace, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the True Tuesday show with your host, Akeem L. here on Hindsight Radio, the information station changing the nation. Before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. Make sure y'all can hear me well. You know, is my mic working? I always got to do a check because sometimes people can't hear. Doesn't come through. If somebody can text me, you can hear me. I always like to check. I'm typing something in the chat. Also, I'm going to put this little news clipping from 1912 in the chat so y'all can hear me loud and clear. Thank you very much for that. All right. There's a news clipping from 1912 that shows who we really are as a people of color, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I always seem to have an idea about what I want to talk about, but something like if I play a certain clip sparks my interest in something. And Les Brown, that clip I was playing, Les Brown, he was talking about achieving the things that you desire. You know, you have to really fight for it or work for it. I don't like using the word fight because that creates conflict, that word, using that word. What I like to say is it's a challenge and a process to achieve the things that you desire. Why? Because you have to fight, or you're challenged by old thoughts, old ideals. You're challenged by the teachings from the past, you know, things that you were taught as a child by your parents, educational systems, whatever you've been exposed to. Most of these things are things you've never vetted or looked up for yourself. You trust the people you grow up with as a child. You know, as a child, you're naturally trusting until, you know, the people around you start to do things and you see, you know, that you see some hypocritical things. And even then you fight that urge to distrust. You still want to trust, right? But we have to keep in mind that a lot of stuff that our parents have taught us is something that they was passed down to them. These bad information is a curse passed down from generation to generation. That's why generations of our people are in poverty, miseducated. You know, even if they're educated, they are stuck with the ideals of I need to get a job and work for someone. You know, just and the list goes on. So basically, in order to be a better version of yourself, you have to really throw away all of the old stuff. You have to kill it. It has to die. You cannot take any piece of that with you, because if you do, that small piece, that small bad piece, will mess up the rest. You know, I had a conversation with someone who was having difficulties with someone. I'm not going to get really specific. But basically, they have this idea in their mind that they're going to pray fervently for the person that they was having trouble with, and that you know, and they felt like that was a good thing. And I'm here to say, no, it's not. Praying for people to, you know, get their act together or whatever is a bad thing. Why do I say that? Because it brings up an old situation in your mind, and while you're praying, thinking you're doing something good for them, you're thinking of all the hurt that they caused you. And now you're not praying, now you're feeling hurt and wronged. So in order to move on from the situation, you have to kill it. It has to die. You have to leave it there. Or you will continue to regurgitate those old feelings back You have to kill it all. If you want to be better, you have to kill it. You have to let it go. It has to not exist in your consciousness in order for you to be successful. And there's only one way to do that. You have to concentrate on something positive and focus on that. And the thing that you need to focus on is your success, your prosperity, your whatever that is you want, whether you just want peace, whether you want lots of money, whether you want to, you have to concentrate on those things. Never try to regurgitate, well, what if this and what about this and, these past thoughts. And there's like I said, while I was listening, I was reading the scripture. It said, and it was 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Remember, I told you, everything is about consciousness and the mind when it comes to the Bible. Large majority of this stuff is not physical. And I'm going to show you. We tend to take things literal when it comes to the Bible because that's how we've been taught, literal. And that's why a lot of this stuff is confusing to people, because they are literally taking this stuff seriously, that these things physically happen. Did some of this physically happen? Yes, but the large part of it, it is talking about metaphysical, higher science of the mind, and how to navigate your own thoughts. Those many rooms in the castle of your mind. Okay? All right, here we go. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 35. But someone will ask, how are the dead raised? Well, what kind of body do they come? In verse 36, I've never even heard a pastor even read this. It says, verse 36, it said, fool, what you sow does not come to life unless it dies. So what this is saying is, in order for something to come to life, it must die first. What are they saying? All of those negative thoughts are dead thoughts. All of those things, you have to kill it for you to come to life. And as long as you're thinking negative and thinking how things are not going to work and how bad things are, you're going to stay dead. And you will never come to life. And that's in any situation that you're trying to do. You have to kill it. See, this physical body is just one big illusion of life, what life really is. It's the spiritual body that's important, because we have two bodies. We have a physical and we have a spiritual. And I'll prove it. Let me keep reading. And as for what you sow, you do not sow the body that it is to be, but a bare seed perhaps of wheat or of some other grain. But God gives it a body as he has chosen, and to each kind of seed its own body. Not all flesh is alike, but there is one flesh for human beings, another for animals, another for birds, and another for fish. Let me stop right there. Let's envision a seed. It starts as this little roundish oval thing, right? And then from it, the seed has to go through a transformation. It has to be damaged. The seed has to die, then a plant starts to grow out of it. And then it grows, it starts off small, and then it sprouts into this big old tree. Now, you have different seeds that do different things. You have fruit trees, you got trees that grow oranges and different types of fruit, right? So that's just like people. We start out as an egg in the body, then the sperm cell hits that egg, and the egg chooses what sperm is going to get through. I know the scientists said it was something different. No, that egg, that feminine energy, just like in life, chooses who's going to get through. Out of the millions of sperm circling it, it makes a choice on which one is compatible. Isn't that how we do in life? Women makes the choice of whether she's going to be with this guy or not. A lot of times we turn women off by our actions or what we say. Like she sees you from afar. She has already made the choice that, oh, I'm interested in that guy. But now you got to get through past the next test. What are you talking about when you approach her? I know I'm going a little bit off. As soon as you open your mouth, it's a yay or nay. Guys, if you think that you said something really slick and you impressed her and that's what caused her to like you, no. That's add-on. Most times, in 99% of the cases, she had already made a decision to allow you into her life before you even opened your mouth. Okay? Just want to put that out there, brothers. If y'all think y'all slick with the tongue and now it's your job to maintain that fondness that she has for you by your action and what you do from that point going forward. But you already picked, just like in the womb. All right, let's keep going. So where was I? So, okay, there were both heavenly bodies and earthly bodies, but the glory of the heavenly is one thing, and that of the earthly is another. So they're saying there's heavenly body and there's an earthly body, and they're different. There's one glory of the sun and another glory of the moon and another glory of the stars. Indeed, star differs from star in glory. So it is with resurrection of the dead, what is sown is perishable. What is raised is imperishable. What is that scripture saying? You have to raise your consciousness to a higher Christ consciousness that is imperishable. So if you stay in a low vibrational thinking, the negative thoughts, you're going to perish. You're not going to make it. And right now, what we're seeing with what's going on, there's a separation of the higher consciousness and the lower consciousness. Those who believe in walking around with these masks 24/7 and believing in what the government is saying, believing in the fear of what they're teaching or saying, they will never attain higher consciousness because they don't believe in the higher consciousness of God. They don't believe in the divine mind, that it's higher than any so-called virus that it can ever come on this planet. See, those are ones that's going to catch it and perish. Why? Because it's their belief system. They have not raised their consciousness past looking at the physical body. They are in fear of physical death. That's why they're wearing masks. That's why when they see you walking down the street and they walking across the street so they don't walk by you with all this vast fresh air out here early in the morning. You know that it is a lot fresher in the morning because less traffic's on the roads, no pollution, right? And they walking across the street. They're identifying with the flesh. I don't want to die. But yet they go into church. Well, they're not so much going into church now. Well, they're doing it online or Zoom and talk about they believe in God and they want to go to heaven. I can't wait to get to the pearly gates. But then they see me coming down the street without my mask, they run across the street. Well, which one do you want? Because if you want the pearly gates, I'll be going head forward into COVID, in a COVID-infested area. Hey, take me. I'm ready to go. No, people are not serious about dying. They are in fear of losing the flesh. See, I'm not in fear of losing the flesh because I'm striving for the spiritual body because that's where that doesn't perish. All right? Let's go. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a physical body, it is raised a spiritual body. So the physical body is sown, but the spiritual body is raised, meaning that it's going to take work process to raise the spiritual body. Now, I was talking about this also. in order for Christ, in the physical, according to that story, because that was all a symbolic story, him dying on the cross or stake in some beliefs to die for people's sins. Really, that is a symbolism of death of the physical body to show you how to kill your physical body. And you will be tortured in a sense spiritually by people who don't agree with you, who do not subscribe to your ideas of spirituality. Like right now, those who don't believe in Mass are being tortured by the people that believe in Mass. When you say you don't believe in all this COVID-19, people look at you like you're crazy. So that's a form of torture, abuse. That you have to, you go in the store, you don't really want to wear a mask, but when you walk in the store, you're going to be persecuted without this mask. What do you do? And I'll leave that up to, you guys personally what to do. I'm not going to say what to do or what not to do. But it's a form of persecution. It's a form of challenge. Are you going to identify with the physical or are you going to identify with the spiritual? Which one? And every day we're challenged by that when someone comes up to us and so-called gets to ruffle our feathers. You're going to identify with the physical and say, I'm going to be right, I'm going to say what I have to say, and, I'm going to spit out my words, or are you going to think spiritual and back off and say it's not important whether they believe me or agree with me or not? I know I'm challenged by that one. That's a work for me to back off. And I'm sure it's work for a lot of other people. If there's a physical body, there's also a spiritual body. Thus it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. But it is not the spiritual. I lost my place here. But it's not the spiritual that is first, but the physical and then the spiritual. So it's saying you had to come into this realm physically and then work on. It's showing you this is all your what do you call your job is to work on raising your spiritual consciousness, raising the spiritual body. But it's not the spiritual that is first, but the physical and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, a man of dust. The second man is from heaven. And as was the man of dust, so are those who are the dust. And as is the man of heaven, so are those who are of heaven. Just as we have borne the image of the man of dust, we will also bear the image of the man of heaven. So that whole Christ was showing Adam came through what? Dust. But then Christ comes along and showing, okay, you have to go to another physical or spiritual existence. This is not it. You have to raise your level of consciousness. You can't stay the same. And if you look at life, nothing stays the same. How you started is not how you end. Okay? What I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is the flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. The same physical don't inherit anything of the higher consciousness. Nor does the perishable inherit the imperishable. Listen, I will tell you a mystery. He's telling you. I will tell you a mystery. He's about to go into the higher sciences, the metaphysical explanation of this. We will not all die, but we will all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. But this perishable body must put on imperishability, and the mortal body must put on immortality. When this perishable body puts on imperishability, and this mortal body puts on immortality, then the saying that is written will be fulfilled. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? He just broke down There is no death. There is no real death. Now, whether we believe it or not, even the people that are in the lower consciousness of thinking will transform into a spiritual body. Because in that scripture I just read, once the body dies, what happens? It moves on to the spiritual body. But some of us are aware of it and we work on it now. So that we don't have to be ignorant in that transition. And you can be totally spiritual and inhabit a spiritual body. So really, this flesh is a host. It's just something that holds the spiritual body to this realm, to this 3D dimension. This is the only way you could exist here. I know I'm getting deep for some of y'all really staunch. If the word say this book, I have to remind you, your Bible that you're reading is a newcomer to spirituality. It's the new boy on the block. It just moved in. Because if you go and dig into the deeper, the older texts, they all say the same thing. But they're older than this Bible that we've been ascribing to for all of these years. You know, we think that's the one thing about Christianity. It really believes it's the end all and be all to all spiritual information. And to tell you the truth, it's the most ignorant and less informed form of spirituality out there. If I had to give it a scale of 1 to 10, it's at the bottom. It really is. I hope I didn't shock some of you. It really is. Because when you dig into the other teachings, you really see the fullness of what really is going on. This is why they stripped the Bible down and gave you this dysfunctional form of Christianity. Because once you realize what you're really working for, yes, I like to have nice things, a nice house, nice cars. And I'm going to have that while I'm in this physical body. But I know that's not, spiritual body doesn't need all of that. The spiritual body knows that all I really need is to maintain this physical vessel, food, water, a decent covering to keep me out of the elements, keep myself warm in the winter and cool in the summer, right? And some clothes. That's really all I need. Enough money to pay. The spiritual body understands that. But at the same time, I want to be as comfortable as possible while I'm around all of these other physical bodies so that I don't have to struggle. So I do what I need to elevate myself spiritually first, then it elevates the physical. So there you go. That was the little lesson on the physical and the spiritual body. Stop identifying with the flesh. And what do I mean by identifying with your flesh? A lot of y'all, I can't do this. I this and I that. It's not working. I had this trouble. That's all physical. Because the spiritual already knows that you know how to do something. You know how to accomplish something. It's going to be okay. It doesn't question anything or have doubt about anything. That's how I know when people are identifying with the physical and not the spiritual. Because the spiritual sees the answer, knows the answer. If it doesn't have it at that time, it knows that it's coming at some time. And it will come at the perfect time. Like, I trying to help people embrace the idea of being self-employed or just owning their own time. It's a very difficult concept to teach people because they identify so physically with their existence that they can't see it. So really, even in that situation, you have to really kill the job that you're working. You have to throw it away in order to be successful. Everybody I know that has transitioned from working a job and to being able to own their time and be successful on their own without the burden of someone telling them where to be at a certain time, had to make a decision, including myself, to just get rid of the just in case. What I mean by that, they had to totally walk away from their job and take a chance without knowing right in that moment, physically, was everything going to be okay. But spiritually, they saw it because they had to trust in the Spirit. They had to have faith in the spiritual answer that they was getting. That spiritual body was saying it could be done. But the physical body was saying, well, I got to do this. I don't know. I got these bills to pay. They had to ignore that. Like me, I had to make a decision. Okay, I quit working for Time Warner Cable. I was making really good money. Really good money. It was, and I had to say, if I really want my business to take off that I'm creating, I cannot serve two masters. So I decided to quit. Making really good money. People don't know that selling cable at that time was really lucrative. I was pulling in just on an average month, $5,000 to $6,000, just in commissions, not counting the salary they was paying me. Plus, I got a free cell phone, then the free cable and free internet. I didn't have to pay for none of those. All of those perks. But all those perks came with a limit. That physical job, that all of that stuff that they were giving me came with a limit. That because they can come and change your commission rate at any time. But I was required to be in the field. My supervisor was pretty lax. He said, as long as you made your quota for the day, you were good, no matter what time you're in the field. Me, I waited until around 3 o'clock to hit the field because that's when kids were getting out of school and somebody was home, and I did not like all of that, knocking on doors knowing no one was there. I wasn't scared to talk to people. So I would do what guys took all day to do, I would do in a few hours, right? Because I capitalized on my time. But I had to meet parameters. Even with that good pay, I had to meet parameters. I had to meet goals. I had to abide by their rules. I wasn't totally in control of my time. I had more control than the average person that worked for Time Warner, a guy who's a technician, which I was at one time. I had to get up very early, be at the warehouse by a certain time, be out of the warehouse at a certain time to get to his first job, then install cable. And didn't leave the field until he got all the jobs that they assigned him. And they signed those jobs, I remember one time I had 9 phone jobs all in the same 4-hour span. 9. They put them all in the same. The dispatcher was feeling sorry for me. But my supervisor knew how, he did that on purpose because he knew I could do it. But I was under control, and I said, if I really want this, I have to quit this. So I quit and started working my satellite business, DirecTV and all of that, Dish Network, and Vivid. I still have those connections. And even then, I saw handcuffs with that because I couldn't do certain things. I couldn't sell this. I had to worry about credit scores and charge back. It was still limiting me. Even once I got into my own business, I still had rules. Then I came across this information, and that's when I saw the real freedom. I said, this is freedom right here. And I knew it, and no one could tell me anything. So I shut down doing satellites for 30 days and just started studying this stuff. Early morning, late nights. Reading till I got headaches. That was 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. reading and studying. And now I'm helping. You know what? As a matter of fact, someone sent me an email. I'm going to read this email and show you how when you put forth the effort in the process and you put time in, your life changes. And this is a guy I helped. He had serious problems when we met. Like, he was looking at serious time. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to, go into the details. But the moment I started working with him, I knew he was going to do good. Because when I was helping him with his stuff, he was helping me do his case because he was reading. He was listening every night to the show. And he was going in, reading the laws, reading the Constitution. And I said, he going to beat this case. Now, my helping helped him. And he, in his mind, I'm going to read the email. Hold on. Because I get this every week. And I should read these on the air to let you know what's happening with people. Oh, where's the email? Because people are changing their lives. They think I'm changing their life. I'm not changing their life. They're changing their life. I just showed them how to change. I just gave them the information, and they took it and ran with it. And he took it and ran with it and studied it. Now he got a trucking company. I spoke about him before, but he sent this email. It was a text, and then he wanted to make sure I got it. He said, this is, I'm not going to say his name, from Mobile, Alabama. I'm texting you to thank you for helping me get my life back on track. And Reverend Ike. So he's thanking Reverend Ike. I thank Reverend Ike because Reverend Ike is the bomb. Before this, I had no clue that the operation of this world was so deep. Yesterday, I lost my wife to this world because of her lack of knowledge and not wanting to know for herself, and she perished. My wife thought she wasn't beautiful enough, therefore she went all the way down to the Dominican Republic and had liposuction and stomach surgery and died on the table. That's important. I want to talk about that right there. Y'all sisters got to start loving yourself for who you are and how you came into this world and stop trying to change how you look and all of this stuff. Us brothers, if you really care about us brothers, we don't give a damn about all of that extra stuff. Actually, we detest it. We don't want the butterfly eyelashes. We don't want all of the operations. We don't care about that. If we're witchy, that's what we like. What we got with, not the extra. My condolences goes out to him for his wife and him losing his wife and everything. That's, but she tried the liposuction. I thank you for Reverend Ike and learning to be able to hold yourself accountable for your decisions and to stop blaming people. Therefore, you must stand on your decision. Sadly, her decision cost her life. And that is sad because it didn't have to happen. And what I find special about the email, in this loss, he found himself to be thankful. And this is a perfect example. We don't have to allow a serious loss to put us in a state of consciousness that we forget about what we need to be thankful for. So this shows he really put off the old self and became a new person where he can see things differently. He's really operating out of a higher consciousness right now. Yesterday was also my 37th birthday. Once again, I thank you for the truth and Brother Solomon as well. You continue to be prosperous, healthy, wealthy, and bringing people to the light, bro. Now, he could have just wrote an email and just, whole sad story. But this was so, reading this was so uplifting that through that pain, that loss, he was able to articulate gratitude. That's called spirituality. That's called being a renewed person in a higher consciousness. Because, typically people get caught up and they lose something. They feel obligated. They feel like they deserve, someone to feel sorry for them. This is not this type of email. You know? And give me a second. I'm typing the email. Yeah, I'm a one finger typer. That's right, y'all. I ain't no speed typer. But these one fingers be getting y'all out of trouble. Yeah, man, I'm impressed by this brother in his where I've met him at and where he is right now. And there's so many more brothers like that doing that. So y'all keep talking about there's no good men. This is one right here. Plenty of them out there. The reason why y'all not finding good men because y'all believe and y'all bought into the lie of there's no good men out there. That's the lie. Of course, you keep saying that, you're going to see only the no good men. Same thing with your brothers. There's good women out there. You just got to keep saying to yourself, there are good women out there. But I will reiterate, sisters, we don't care about all those extra stuff y'all be trying to do. We don't care about all the massive makeup and all of that. We don't care about that. The good brothers, they want plain Jane, for real. For real. You know? But peace to that brother, prosperity and wealth to him. He's going to do very well. What I want to say from the higher mind of consciousness, we lose. And we don't expect to lose people, but everything is reborn and replaced. So we always got to look at when more door closes, that is the truth. Something opens up. And sometimes we fight to not let the door close. No. Sometimes you have to walk away to make things better. Sometimes you have to let go to make things get better, spiritually and physically. Stop fighting. Listen, the true higher part of you knows the truth. What's for you is for you. You don't have to fight to hold on to it. If it's for you, it will be back. If it's not for you, it may come. Sometimes it may try to come back, but you'll know it. The Spirit will tell you. And you have to learn how to listen. We got people in church positions right now telling people, you're not experienced enough to know your own spiritual gifts. There's people out there actually saying that. And that's a lie. Because the Bible clearly, even from the Bible point of view, it says, be like these little children. So if someone's calling you a child in God, then you are in the right position. You are in the perfect spiritual position. Because it says, be like these little children, then you can enter the kingdom of heaven. So if somebody ever come and tell you you too young, you are young in Christ, you say, oh yeah, okay, then that makes me a little higher than you, huh? And pull that scripture out. Because that's where you're supposed to be. Then why do you have to be like a child? Because a child has truth, honesty, and they believe, they have faith. And as we get older, we start to sin. And what I mean by sin, we start to think less of ourselves. We start to lose our divinity in our consciousness because we start to believe in things that are undefined, like all of this COVID-19 crap. That's an undefined idea because all COVID-19 is a thought. It's an idea of someone's. There's no facts behind that because these scientists don't even know fully how the body works. But they're going to tell you COVID-19 doing this and doing that is killing this and killing that. But everybody that's dying end up in the hospital. That's where they're dying. They're not dying in the house, and they're not finding them in the street. No one's passing out in the street. I've been out a lot. I ain't seen no one fall out from COVID-19. None of that. Everybody that dies from this thing happen to be in state custody of some form, whether they're in a nursing home or in a hospital. They are under the control of someone who is supposed to save their life. So are these places for saving life or for killing life? I would say they are for killing life. Hospitals are not holy places. They're there to take lives. Now, of course, the people that are doctors and whatever, they believe that they're saving lives because they believe in that bad education that they got. But the system who created it designed it to kill so that they can keep having customers. The longer you stay sick, the longer they make money. And then when they see you as we done gave them enough poison, they put you in hospice. And just say we done treated you as much as we tried everything. That shows you they don't know what they're doing. Because if the doctors, with all this technology that they can make a phone and do all of this, you telling me they can't heal people? Why? Because the earth already got your healing stuff. And you're taking your herbs and doing all of that, you'll be fine. Now, it's 7:58. And before I get into what I was going to talk about, this Revalue situation, let me tell you, herbs I take. I take vitamin C, vitamin D. You know what? Let me go get this sheet so I can tell you exact doses that I take every day. And since I've been taking these doses, I don't get fatigued. And actually, if you get the Candida report that Dr. Daniels have online, it has that on there. The stuff you can take. Okay. 2, B complex 50. That's two capsules of B complex 50. I started only taking one, but 2 B complex 50. Vitamin A, 25,000 IUs. I hope y'all writing this down. Vitamin C, 3 grams a day. Now, at first, that's going to make you go to the bathroom a little bit because vitamin C can act as a laxative sometimes. Vitamin E mixed to tocopherols. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'll spell it. TOCOPHEROLS. 400 IU daily. Selenium, 200 mcg daily. This combination of antioxidants is a particular ratio so that you do not deplete other nutrients by oversupplying one nutrient. So, yes, you can oversupply a nutrient that will cause you to deplete cancel out others. B12 sublingual, 5,000 mcgs. Trace minerals, Shilajit, 200 milligrams to 500 milligrams a day as tar for 4 days a week. So you need to be taking Shilajit at least 4 days a week. Sometimes I got to get good with that. And quarter cup brown flaxseed, soak overnight, 1 cup of water, stir and drink in the morning. May substitute 2 teaspoons with chia seeds. Now, I don't do the flaxseed all the time. I don't like the way it tastes, but I do. I should do it more. So, with flaxseed, you can put it in water and let it soak. You can boil it too, and it'll turn into like a gel. And here it's saying take one stir and drink that solution. That 1 cup of water you make and drink it in the morning. That's going to help also with your eating sweets and stuff like that. That'll kill those desires. Because now these viruses like those types of things. All right. There you go. I gave y'all some health tips to keep yourself healthy. Because there is something out there that's causing people to get sick. But I think it's more of a electronic sickness type thing. I think that's what's going on, more than some type of virus, And if your body gets to those lower levels of vibration, it's going to tap into that, and it's going to make you sick. So try to keep your one of the main things, keep your consciousness high, stay out of negative vibrations, and keep your body fed with the nutrients, and you'll be fine. I've traveled. I've gone places. I got on a plane. And this is crazy. On the plane, there's no social distancing. They had everybody packed in with masks on. But yet, you can't go to the beach and be crowded more than 10 people. But you can be on a plane, closed field. That shows you how much it's BS. All right. And there's another thing. Last thing on that COVID thing, there's a reason why I don't get on YouTube and try to debunk COVID-19. Because I noticed that everybody's happy trying to debunk it. All of a sudden, they got sick and they dead. I think they're targeting people that speak out against it. Now, I say something on this forum, but outside of that, just, constantly going in on it. Now, I believe in being covert, being behind the scenes. I see what's going on. I look like one of you, but I'm not one of you. Type. That's where I at. All right, so we're going to talk about this Revalue right after I take a small break, drink me a little water. I'm impressed by the people and taking on this higher consciousness. People are taking it in. Things are definitely going to change for them and everything around them. All right, I'll be right back.
Peace to the gods. You're listening to Hindsight Radio.
Up by pressing the 1 button. I know they have been causing some problems on the phone line, but people are not able to press 1. If you're not able to press 1, it's not letting you go up. You don't hear that you're in the queue. Type a message to me either by text or open up your line or send me something in the chat because I know they're fooling with the phone line. And they've been doing it for the last couple of weeks because maybe a couple of people have their hand up, and usually I have a lot more. But if I don't see hands and I don't know you want to say something, I'm going to end the show. 2 things I want to talk about. This currency revalue, and also I found a news clipping. Somebody was on Facebook. I stumbled along a news clipping about us being Americans, not Africans. So I'm torn. Which one do I do first? Currency value? Well, let's do the currency value because that's what the show is supposed to be on. And I've been talking for an hour, 45 minutes about spirituality. And I hope y'all get it. It's all about moving your mind to the higher consciousness. This is all you can do now to even survive what's going on. If you don't move your mind to the highest consciousness, you're going to get caught up like these other people. People are committing suicide. Suicides are up now. From children to adults, move your mind to the higher consciousness. Get out of the lower consciousness of the mind. All right, so I got Investopedia. This was updated March 5th, 2020, and it says, is the Iraqi Dinar wise investment? Okay, currency revalue. We've talked about this for years on this show. You buy Iraqi Dinar, they're supposed to be 10-1. If the currency revalues for every dollar you hold of Iraqi Dinar, it'll be worth 10 versus 10 times the amount. And then your dollar would go the other way. So if you have $100 of the fiat currency and it revalues, it's going to be worth only $10. And with the Iraqi dinar, if you own $100 of that, that's going to be worth $1,000. That's what I was told. I never quite found that factual. Like, I couldn't find anything to connect those words to any. I've seen them on the Patriot site saying that. And this is a Investopedia article written March 5th, 2020. What does it mean to invest in the Iraqi dinar? In simple terms, it's conducted in the same fashion as any currency investment. You purchase X amount of Iraqi dinar by paying Y amount of U.S. dollars. Now, I have some Iraqi dinar. I have some Vietnamese dong. I have some Chinese yuan. I buy them because it's currency. So if it doesn't revalue, I can just go and turn it in at the current rate. So it is still an investment, but will it be what they say it's going to be? And let me continue. As with buying stocks, bonds, or other currency, you purchase dinar at a given price and then expect the price to rise. The real question, though, is not just can you invest in this particular currency, but rather should you invest? Is it a scam? Financial scams usually have certain characteristics that can be identified with a bit of research. If the scheme is run and promoted by individual agents instead of known brokers, financial firms, or other entities, or if there are heavy unofficial promotions through internet, email, telemarketing calls instead of open and fair marketing, or if marketers promise exaggerated returns. I just talked about the exaggerated returns, right? So this whole Iraqi dinar thing and the currency revalue is mostly promoted by other entities in the Patriot community. There's people that's been doing calls for like years talking about these things. And they actually give what, if you're listening to these calls, things that what seems to be facts. Oh, this is going on over here. They did this. My sources this. And they use code words like my sources and this and that. They never give you solid information where you can go and take what they're saying and vet it, right? So you should be skeptical if that's the type of information. Because this revalue is supposed to happen for 10, 12 years now, and it hasn't happened. I bought into it a long time ago, and now I'm starting to like, is it really going to be value? And I think there is a revalue going to happen, but not the way they're preaching it on these different sites. I think there is going to be some substantial or some type of increase in the currency that you buy, and they are okay investment. I wouldn't say big time investment. But I think you will make some money, but not that 10 times rate. I think it's going to be a percentage of whatever you own that you'll make. You'll make a little bit of money. Now, where the money is, I've been telling y'all, silver and gold. But mostly I've been talking about silver. That's going to be where the money is. Where you're going to make your substantial profits. Because the dollar is going to crash because they're just printing money. And we're in hyper inflation, and if they do another lockdown, we're gonna spiral down a rabbit hole fast. And they're purposely crashing this economy with this whole COVID-19. This is not an act. They're pushing small businesses out of business and holding on to the big guys. Those guys got billions of dollars in bailouts through this last bill, and they're going to get it again. Why? Because they are in the government's pocket. They are on the government's team. So they're taking care of each other. But if you're not part of that team, you're going to get shut out, or they're going to try to shut you out. That's why I say you got to get your businesses going so that you can be hyperinflation proof. There's plenty of money to be made right now, regardless. But there's no money to be made going working for these fools, getting up every day, where they could tell you, well, we're cutting back. Because some of these businesses are being incentivized to fire people or let go people because the government just gave them a big check. You see? Or they're paying people up to a certain amount of time. They're just following the rules just enough and then they say bye-bye, and they get to keep all of that money that the government gave them because, that PPP, they get to waive that if they do certain things. But they only have to keep the employees a certain amount of time. And then out of all of those millions and billions of dollars that they got, they get to keep and don't have to pay it back. Who do you think is going to pay for that? Well, let me keep going. In the case of the Iraqi Dinar investment scheme, there might be additional red flags. Reputed banks, examples given, Bank of America, abstain from offering forex trading in Iraqi dinars. States like Utah, Oklahoma, and Alabama issue warnings against such investment. Available quotes including the bid-ask spreads and practical reasons discussed below justifying the Iraqi dinar as a perfectly safe and sure-shot high-return investment. All of these factors give rise for further doubt. The basis of Forex. Forex refers to currency trading and currency pairs. Say, for example, the Iraqi dinar Forex rate is 1,160 Iraqi dinar per U.S. dollar. If you invest $1,000 in Iraqi dinars with that rate, you will get 1.16 million Iraqi dinars. After this investment, you wait and watch, expecting that the IQD or the Iraqi dinar to rise against the U.S. dollar. If your expectations come true and the exchange rate improves to a hypothetical value, say $1 U.S. dollar equals 1 Iraqi dinar, then your IQD USD investment is now worth 1.16 million. See what I'm saying? Why this is such appealing? Because if it does happen the way they want it to happen, that small investment can yield you, that $1,000 investment could yield you $1.16 million. And I have doubts, but I would hope that would work. Under this unlikely hypothesis, the investor would become a millionaire by investing $1,000, which grew to $1.16 million. So, yeah, I'm a buyer of Iraqi dinars just in case because it's currency. I can still spend it even if it doesn't happen. So is it a bad investment? No. But is it a great investment? No. Because it's predicated on a lot of off-site information, people who claim to be in the know about this, that, and the other. Key takeaways. The Iraqi dinar is the currency of Iraq and can be exchanged for U.S. dollars. Hopes that Iraq's economy can recover from civil and regional wars have led to some speculation that the Iraqi dinar can increase in value against the dollar. However, major banks and brokers do not offer trading of the IQD-USD pair, and transactions are placed through money exchanges, which charge hefty fees. Scam artists have also been active in promoting IQD investments, which has led many states in the U.S. to issue warnings. Iraq's currency faces many challenges and much uncertainty in both the short and long term. But what happens if the dinar takes the opposite direction? Say it deteriorates and now $1 buys 2,000 Iraqi dinars. Now you invested holding a 1.16 million IQD is worth 580 U.S. dollars. Effectively, you have lost $420 on your investment. Hype scam or hidden profit opportunity? That's the question, right? Now, what's interesting about this article, it came out March 5th, 2020, right before all of this stuff hit the fan with COVID, right? And the timing of this article is suspect. All right. First, let's begin with the positives. Although speculative thoughts about Iraqi dinar investments have been going around for a long time, there were developments based on reports which led to a spike in speculation. IQD USD trading, like the statement issued by IMF around mid-2007 in the post-Saddam Hussein era. It mentioned the international compact with Iraq, which was interpreted in multiple ways and led to further speculation in Iraqi dinar currency trading. Quote, Iraqi authorities have taken some courageous measures, including the gradual increase in domestic fuel prices, and starting in 2007, the elimination of all direct budgetary fuel subsidies except for kerosene. Iraq has also embarked on an ambitious structural reform program in order to make the transition to a more market-based economy. Article further states, to combat inflation Action has been initiated in three fronts. First, the Central Bank of Iraq raises policy interest rates sharply and allows the gradual appreciation of the dinar. These measures aim to de-dollarize the economy in order to enhance the central bank's control over monetary conditions and also to reduce imported inflation. Just prior to these, the IQD USD exchange rate was around 1,270, April 2007, and as of August 2020, it is around 1,190, a positive return of around 6.5%. Trends further down the line likely depends on the current and future developments in the region. Future prospects. Civil war, regional fights, and Western countries staying away are major concerns of current Iraq, with the extreme possibility of the country splitting into three separate regions. If that happens, the payday may never come for investors holding the Iraqi dinar and waiting for value appreciation. Backed by the oil reserves, Iraq has the potential to spring back and establish itself as a stable economy. It managed to do so after the 8-year-long Iran-Iraq war, but that will need a peaceful, promising business atmosphere to establish investor confidence, which will in turn help revive its economy and bring back the IQD forex rate to less depressed levels. Now, to the other side of the coin, there are signs indicating that Iraqi dinar investments are nothing more than a hype scam. The most obvious important factor is IQT literally trades in the forex black market instead of regular banks and trading desks. Additionally, some incorrect statements are heavily publicized by the propagators of Iraq dinar investment schemes. Incorrect statements in italics. Here's the quote. Iraqi dinar is heavily undervalued at present and will rise significantly against U.S. dollar in mid to long term due to pending revaluation bound to happen soon. This is a statement I've heard over and over again in the Patriot community and everywhere else, right? I've heard this statement. Almost verbatim, they are quoting this. Supporters of Iraqi dinar investments are reported to be confusing two economic terms, revaluation and redenomination. Now, I got to pay attention. And I agree with what this is about to say. They're confusing these two terms. Revaluation is a calculated adjustment made to a country's official exchange rate relative to a chosen baseline, such as gold or the U.S. dollar. After a revaluation, a currency becomes expensive relative to base currency by the factor of adjustment, and hence the process changes the purchasing power of that currency. That's revaluation. Redenomination is done in case of high inflation levels by only high value notes being made equal to new small value notes. Example given, 1,000 old dinars equal 1 new dinar. Okay? So that's redenomination. So what I described earlier was redenomination. So what they were calling revaluation was really redenomination of the American dollar or the U.S. dollar, if that's not American. The U.S. dollar, where $10 become $1. That's redenomination. Okay? See, that's why you have to look stuff up and read it for yourself. There are confirmed news items that Iraq did plan to redenominate its currency, but not revalue. In the absence of any revaluation, there's going to be no change in the forex exchange rate of Iraqi dinar with or without redenomination. Economists also point out that it would not be beneficial to the Iraqi economy to allow any such value appreciation by the authorities, even by means of revaluation. Doing so will lead to multiple problems for Iraq. The inability to repay the national debts due to revised valuation, literally putting barricades for foreign companies to enter Iraq for business, overall restricted growth in the post-war era due to ripple effects of the above. Similar revaluation of Kuwaiti dinar is a historical proof. Some try to encourage investment in the Iraqi dinar based on the success case of the revaluation of the Kuwaiti dinar, which today is high-valued currency. However, this is misleading. While the official Kuwait government site does mention that new notes were released following the Iraqi invasion, there wasn't any revaluation. The new release was to prevent the use of stolen and looted old Kuwaiti dinars. In the Kuwaiti example, the pre-war forex rates were retained, But old banknotes were swapped for new ones. So they just did a currency swap so that, people had, during the war, stole currency, so you can't use the old currency anymore. You got to go with the new one. It is also impractical and economically impossible to revalue a currency in such a way that its value increases many-fold without there being a real addition to the reserves. Post-war development may take time, but always gives good results. Now, one of the things that people say about the Iraqi Dinar is that the reason why it's backed by gold. I've heard that too, right? So I'm going to do a simple search. Is Iraqi Dinar backed by gold? Let's see. Let's see what we find. And it says Iraqi Dinar is backed by gold now, and the currencies issued backed by gold are considered one of the most powerful currencies in the world. Moreover, the currency is supported by $82 billion cash reserves and 122 tons of gold reserves, along with the many other foreign bills that make it strong in the foreign market. So, Iraq is a hot investment, but it is I just read that. So, reading this article, like, it talks against it, like, in a way, but then it also talks for it. By some, if you don't understand what they're saying, you will be confused. So I would say buy some Iraqi Dinar. I don't think you can lose. Now, will it revalue like that example I just gave you? I'm not so sure about that, but I think you will make some money off of it in the long run because it's backed by gold. Okay? Our currency is not. So basically, the only reason why our dollar is holding its value or it has the power it does, because it has a nickname called the petrodollar. What that means is the United States made it so that anytime you buy oil, it has to be done in U.S. dollars. So that's what put the U.S. dollar at the top, because all oil must be bought in U.S. dollars. That's a monopoly, right? I can't buy it with French money. I can't buy it with Iraqi. Where it came from? What's the deal with that? So that's how come the Iraqi Dinar, the U.S. dollar has the power it does. Now, which I suspect will happen, that's going to go away, where the dollar is not considered the petrodollar and people can buy the oil the way they want to buy it. That's going to happen eventually. And when that happens, your dollar is going to be worth crap. And if you do have a Iraqi Dinar or any other currency, that money is going to be worth more than $1. So will you make money off of Iraqi Dinars? Yes, you will, eventually. Because things are fast approaching. Is it a decent investment? Based on even reading this, even though they talked a little negative about it, it still was positive. And like I said, this article conveniently came out right before COVID-19. So what are they trying to do? Scare people from buying Iraqi Dinar so they don't create millionaires? You could think like that. I think there's some profit in it, and I think there's some profit in revalue. The biggest thing that I'm looking for is silver, the God's money, to revalue or, to go up in value. That's what because all of that's going to happen. If we go back to the gold standard, silver standard, where our dollars is backed by actual precious metals, we have to go back to that. That's what I'm saying. Buy your silver. Buy those things. If you could just buy one a week, buy it. My mother gave me some great advice a long time ago. When I first worked at the World Trade Center, I was only making $3.35 an hour. I couldn't even buy a full outfit. She told me to buy one thing at a time. And I did what she said. And slowly I had built up a wardrobe. I had from the story I told y'all last week, I only had a shirt, a dress shirt, and I had the Stonewall jeans. So the next year, I just bought a pair of slacks to match the shirt. And I had to wash that stuff out every day until the next I bought something else. 1 week of shirt, 1 week of pair of pants. Until next you know I had 5 outfits, and then I had 10, you know. Success is a process. You're not going to, this time next year, if you are working constantly on your consciousness, you will not be in the same position you are this year. If you're putting in that work, turning off the TV, watching junk, stop hanging out with them people you think are your friends. Because your real friends want you to be successful. They don't want you doing anything that's not productive. If you're hanging out with people and they're not productive, these are not your friends. They're people you just know. And once you start working on your business and doing all those things, then people ain't gonna want to hang out with you anyway. They're gonna start saying things, man, you always working. What you doing over there? Why you don't hang out no more? If your friends ain't talking about making money or prosperity things, they are not your friends. Unless that's what you want, nothing. You hang out with those people. These people are not your friends. Your friends are the people that are going the same place you're going. And first of all, be a friend to yourself and work on your prosperity. All right. Oh, we got one caller. Let's see. We got a caller. Just one. Somebody got through. All these callers on the line and nobody's. I must be very thorough. 616-466.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're listening to your presentation on.
Hello.
I'm. Yeah.
Hello.
It sounds like two people on the line. Yes. Hello. How are you? Can you hear me?
All right. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
All right. How
yes,
you doing?
we're. All right. How you doing?
Okay. It is two people on the line. I'm doing good.
Good. Yeah, we were just listening on the show today. On what you were talking about, the currency revaluation and so forth. We do have some currency, but I don't know. Like you said, people have been waiting 14 years or longer just for the currency to revalue.
They tell you what's going to happen, and then, this happened, and it's not going to happen. And, I've been listening to a few calls over the last couple of weeks, and, it was supposed to happen last Friday. After 4, they gave definite time.
Yeah.
Yesterday, nothing happened. I'm not hearing anything. And I'm starting to feel like these people just want to hang on to listeners. And, it's like you're being strung along,
Yeah, like we got caught up in the Ponzi scheme.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you just went and bought, I bought my dinars from Bank Note World. I bought them from a reputable place. I didn't go anywhere else. So I have actual currency, and that's not a Ponzi scheme. But, like some of these groups got all this special thing. You invest here, you hold on to this, and they got all these schemes going. Those are Ponzi schemes, I believe. But if you just go buy your Iraqi dinar straight up from a real broker's house, you're fine. It's currency. You could just change it in and get your money back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it doesn't hurt to buy it just in case. I believe there will be a redenomination or revaluation. But I don't believe it's going to be these millions of dollars that they're preaching. That's what I have. My spirit says it's not going to be that,
Okay.
It's going to be, $1,000 make you an instant millionaire. $1,000 of U.S. currency, like I just read. Now, like I said, that article came out suspiciously right before COVID-19. I'm like, this is interesting, the way they're talking about it. And then they gave I read other articles that actually gave numbers and figures. I said, what that tells me, something is going to happen, but it may not be exactly how the Patriot community has been preaching it. I think they're a little bit off there.
Yes. But I still listen.
Right.
I listen to different, forums and so forth discussing that. But what we started doing lately is to just invest in silver because we noticed there's been a rise in gold and silver. So those precious metals,
you can't go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong with that. Having silver or gold. Silver 3 weeks ago was like around $20 an ounce, right, for a bar. Now it's close to 30.
Try 31.61. That's how much I paid for two last week.
Right.
Two silver coin, dollar coins. Yeah, 1 ounce silver coin.
Now,
that's for
now,
one.
A lot of people don't think that's a lot. That's not a lot of money. But if you're just holding on to a lot of silver right now, over time, like right now, if we was to do a revaluation and everything was to take place, let me see. Let's go to the USDebtClock.org. I think it was like $3,900, and when I started talking about this, it was $3,700. $1 to 1 bar of silver. So that means if everything is set, your 1 bar of silver, 1 ounce, will be worth $3,900. That's a good payoff.
Yes, it is.
Let's go. Precious metals. Where are you? There, gold, precious metals. And every time I look at it, it's higher and higher. So now, it's higher now. It's last week when I read it, it was $3,900. This week it's $4,444.
Wow.
$1 to silver ratio is $4,044.
Check that out.
And
it is
dollar to
increasing.
gold is $32,000. Yes, it's increasing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if they put us back on the standard like we're supposed to be, and one of the things that got to happen, you got the silver commodities market. That's contracts, right? That's the fake stuff, right? If that silver disconnects from that, that's what it's going to go to, $4,444. That's what 1 ounce would be worth. So if you would just have 10 bars of silver, you got some bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just 10 bars. Or, 10 coins, silver coins.
10 coins.
That's where the money's at. That's where you can bank on that. You can put that in the bank, that silver is going to increase. And even if it doesn't disconnect, I can tell you in the 6 months to a year, it's going to go up to $100 an ounce on the way it is now. If it keeps going, if it stays, if nothing changes, it's going to be $100 an ounce by next year. So you just pay $22 or $30, you're making $70 an ounce. That's still good money. That's still decent. That's what I'm saying. Keep investing. Keep buying as much as you can. You come across people that don't appreciate their silver, buy it off of them. There's a reason.
Like Go ahead.
When I was selling cable in South Carolina, I was going door to door, and there was guys from New Jersey knocking on people's doors trying to buy their gold and silver.
Wow.
And I said they're expecting something to happen in the future. Then, if you noticed around the late 90s, early 2000s, all of these pawn shops started advertising that we buy gold, we buy silver.
That's right.
All of a sudden, because they were trying to get all of the precious metals out of the homes, mainly black folks.
That's right. Yeah, they knew what they were
doing. You guys had something to say? You had a question or something for me?
No, not at this time, Akeem. But thank you very much for sharing that article with us, and I will continue to, monitor the currency revaluations and so forth. I don't think I'm going to buy any more of the dongs and dinars and what's the other one that I have?
I'm not buying any more of that right now. No, I got enough right now. If it did revalue, I'll be good. If it did exactly what that article hypothetical, I'm good.
That's
right now.
That's
so
right.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And hold on to it.
So I'll just stick with. I just stick with the gold and silver. If I could afford platinum, I may, invest in that as well. But and copper, I heard copper is supposed to increase, probably even more so than
all of the metals are increasing. All of your metals are increasing. All of them.
That's right.
Are increasing.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know about.
All right.
We're trying to establish a trust.
Okay, well, they're talking about something else.
Okay, but I want to know about putting it
No,
in the trust.
He can ask me about the trust. I'm cool with that. Go ahead. What's your question about the trust?
Okay. I'll hand him the phone then. Just a moment. You can ask.
Okay.
Just want to know about. Okay, if we're trying to establish a trust, then we put that up under the trust, or
well, yes. Oh, he wants to know if we were establishing the trust, should we put those investments under the trust? Yes, that's absolute yes.
Yes, if you decide to put it as an asset on a Schedule A in your trust. Yes.
That's right.
Do that, because that's a Texas. See, if you get sued individually, they can take that from you. Payment. So if it's in the trust, then, that's an entity, in an irrevocable trust. Have it belong to the irrevocable trust. All right?
That's right. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. You guys have a good night. Thank you. All right.
Peace to the God.
Peace to God. All right, we got, before I take this next call, I see you 314. I meant to read something. And just a little side note, and it's an article, the Siler City Grit. It's a article that was written back in June 19th, 1912, out of North Carolina, right? Siler City, North Carolina. Never heard of this place, and it was a Negro race has billion in U.S. And this is the article talking about whether we should go back to Africa. And something was said in here that was interesting. And it says, return of colored people to dark continent is impossible owing to material progress made by them, it is announced. Kansas City, Missouri, disenfranchise the Negro and send him back to Africa. Absurd. Impossible. More than $1 billion worth of United States real estate, which he owns in his own name in the United States, is not easily to be taken from him. Besides, the Negro is not an African, he is an American. African is a misnomer. Excuse me. Which is not, African is a misnomer. Why try to send him to a country which is not its own? Now, somebody tried to say, no, he wasn't saying they're not from Africa. He was just saying they were born here, and they did put all these inferences. Like this thing said specifically, African is a misnomer. Why try to send him to a country which he is not his own? That's exactly what it says. Let's look up the word misnomer. Meaning, a wrong or inaccurate name or designation. So they're saying the so-called Negro is not African. That's an inaccurate description. So I don't know, people, they say things just because they don't want in. And that was a person of color who said that. All right. So says Dr. J.R. Hawkins of North Carolina, Secretary and Commissioner of Education for the African Methodist Episcopal Church, a delegate to the General Conference at the Allen Chapel. Dr. Hawkins has made a study of the business status of his race in connection with his regular work as one of their foremost educators. So he did a study and knows that the dark-skinned people are not from Africa. Okay? It probably will startle the world when it realizes that we have acquired in at least 50 years over $1 billion in real estate. Dr. Hawkins said, and that is only the beginning of the rapid forward march which the Negro is making as a businessman. The Negro could not help being a businessman. He was surrounded with it in the years of his slavery. He was taught how to drive a bargain in horses or real estate, even if his master didn't teach him how to read and write. So what he's basically saying, that these Americans These Negroes, who were Americans, were enslaved on their own land. There are 400 self-supporting newspapers daily and weekly owned and published by Negroes in the United States. 3,000 physicians have been graduated from Negro and white schools and are now practicing among their people. 2,000 lawyers have been admitted to the bar in the United States Courts of Justice, and 380 authors are found among our race. We own 41 schools and colleges, representing an investment of $38 million, and $45 million has been spent in church property for Negroes. Negro men own and control 51 banks, which are prosperous and flourishing, and $650,000 have been invested in Negro libraries. And it is significant that in the Southland, Negroes own 180,000 farms on which 50 years ago they toiled to crack the slave driver's whip. The Negro is born American, and he feels it is his country. Africa has no call for him. It is a fairy tale to him. Pestilence and disease are not uncommon in Africa, but America nurtures him and makes him strong, and he likes it and intends to stay in it. That doctrine is being taught our 1.650 million children in the public schools. The Negro does not ask for any special legislation in his favor. He is willing to take his chance and is confident that he can bear his own burden as well as the white man. And toward that end, we are striving to educate our ignorant poor, make healthy the weak, and to help more Negroes to own their own homes and farms. See, okay. Now, look at all of the commerce we were doing back then. This was 1912, right? Okay, this is why I say the civil rights movement was the worst thing that ever happened for us. Because we were thriving. And as soon as we bought into that ideology of integrating and desegregation, that was the decline of our community. When we tried to enter their establishments and do business, we were already doing good. This article tells you that. So, Martin Luther King, and you can go tell people, oh, he told my mom, was an agent of the demise of his own people. Knowingly or unknowingly, he was the agent. I think mostly it was unknowingly. He thought he was doing a good thing. And Malcolm X was speaking something different. And then when they started to get together, what did they do? They assassinated the both of them. And guess what he used to do it? He used the brothers that looked just like him to help. See, that we don't need to try to fit into their politics. Just start doing business with each other, doing our own businesses. We'll be fine. Because the people of color are the number one consumers of this country. What we call the black woman is the number one consumer. She does the most spending with everyone else. So we take those funds and start divert them into our own communities. Everybody, they go down. That's why they spend so much time marketing to you guys. Telling you what hair to wear, what color nails, and what makeup. Who's making all of that stuff you're buying to put on your face and your hair? Who's making it? I think that's about $1 trillion industry, the beauty industry. And most of that stuff that our sisters are buying don't even belong. Those are companies that don't belong to none of us. The nail salons, the Koreans are doing the nails, the foot spas, the pedicures, and all of that, and all. We can do our own nails. I remember growing up and just seeing that stuff done right there in the kitchen. Why can't y'all do that? Go buy, if you're going to buy the product, go do it yourself. Learn how to do it. And y'all friends get together in groups. Well, you learn how to do this, and I'll do yours, and you do mine. And y'all pay each other in the comfort of your own home. Stop forcing y'all money on these other people that don't care nothing about you. All right. Let's see. Any more callers? Yeah. 312533476.
Peace to the gods.
Hey, peace. Peace to God. What's going on?
Yes, all good. Yeah, you doing all right?
I'm doing good. How are you?
That's good. I'm doing good. In that list of medicines that you were speaking about, I didn't hear you
Those are
use
vitamins.
the vitamins. You didn't. Did you mention zinc?
No, I didn't use zinc. I don't use zinc a lot. I use it.
Okay.
I have some, but I don't use it a whole lot. You can use zinc. It's fine.
Because
you got to be careful with zinc, because if you're taking zinc, you have to take something else to go with it. I can't remember. I got to go back to my notes. Or it could be the other round. If you're taking something, some type of vitamin, you need to take zinc. It could be I think it's vitamin D and zinc. I can't remember. I have to look at my notes. You know, you got to be careful with certain supplements that you're taking, because they can cancel out other supplements.
Oh, okay.
So
thanks for that. Thanks for the info. But the reason why I was mentioning that, because we got this directly from several frontline doctors, and zinc was one of the ingredients. We use vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A, zinc.
The reason why they say zinc, because they're promoting hydroxychloroquine. So if you taking that, you need to, because that hydroxychloroquine depletes your zinc and your vitamin D. So they tell you to take those supplements to get it back. That's why they're saying that. Those frontline doctors, that's why they teach that.
Right. We've been doing some other research. You ain't going to believe this. I came across some information. People are doing a study that the hydroxychloroquine, what it does when it goes inside of your system, it goes into if you have cancerous cells, it goes inside of that cells and destroy it. Okay, it goes inside the good cells, and then once it goes in there, it protects anything else from trying to come in, like a virus or whatever, to manipulate that cell. In addition to this, this is going to blow your hat off the head. The study we got the people doing the study now saying that this not only is going to be able to cure cancer, hydroxychloroquine. This is why they're trying to keep it off the market. But I can't even get this. They got a study doing that this decalcifies your pineal gland. Can you imagine how many millions of people around on the planet got their pineal gland declassified and their third eyes are open? No more slavery.
That's all great and good. That's a man-made, chemically based drug, which I think people are being healed from it, whatever they have. They use that drug for arthritis, and they use it. It's one of the cocktails they give you when you travel to certain parts of Africa. So that drug has been around for years, and I ain't seen no decalcified pineal glands from the people that I know taking it.
Well, I don't know. I'm just bringing this up because
now, if you want to decalcify and you want the only things you said that it does, there's one thing that does that. Two things. Actually, there's two things that do that. Two natural things that do that. Turpentine and what is it? Oregano.
All of oregano? Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. I left that out. We take 5 drops of the oil of oregano every day, along with another 5 drops of the oil of oregano with iodine in it. And the hydroxychloroquine, I can distinctly remember when we were 4 years old, when any of us got sick, because, it's four boys and 4 girls in our family, it's 8 of us. My grandmother gave us this product that's called quinine. That is the same thing as hydroxychloroquine. A couple of days later, everybody is well.
Now, I was told in my I didn't play this in my private interview with Dr. Daniels. I was told that oregano is right on par with turpentine. The only reason why she don't use oregano because it's harsher. It's like because it burns if you take it.
A little bit.
You really got to dilute it. You got to dilute it.
And juice.
So she said it's right on par with that. That's the only reason why she doesn't use that.
Yeah, we use it with juice, cranberry juice, because it's good for your kidneys. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to say while I'm on the line, all of the people that's on the line today, I don't know how many are on because they've been screwing around with your phone calls there. I came, stay away from this pain medicine that's called Aleve. It will fuck up your kidneys.
I don't mess with that. I don't mess with none of that stuff anyway.
Right. I just want to let everybody know.
I haven't taken over enough in years.
I'm going to send you. I'm going to email you later today or tomorrow. There is a product that these bastards came out with. I came in 1984. They knew that this product, it was a pain relief medicine. They knew that it will cause heart problems and heart attacks, and they went ahead and made it anyway, and all these people died from taking it. I'm going to email that to you so you can see that.
Okay.
But anyway,
thanks.
My next question is, what is a Schedule A for adding something to your trust?
It's called A is for assets. Schedule A. That's where you look for all assets on your trust. Schedule A.
So I could just Google that and pull that form up?
No, you just type Schedule A and then list your assets.
Oh, okay. All right. And my last question.
Assets. Gold, silver, whatever. That's it. Yeah.
Right. You can file. Say for instance, you come up with some assets after the trust is filed. You still can just add the Schedule A into that.
Yeah, that's it. Every trust should have a Schedule A listing the assets. Yeah.
Okay. My last question is: can you think about coming up and offering a service for the people to get their 98 numbers? I know you got the ladies now. So you can teach the ladies how to call in for the ladies, and then either you could teach some guys how to call in.
You
don't have time to do that?
It's easy. I mean, we can do that, but it's so easy. I never thought about it. You just call them up and they give it to you.
Yeah, but see, the reason why I'm bringing it to your attention, a lot of the people, they are afraid of the Internal Revenue Service. They're afraid to call and get their number. So if you offer the service, you can charge your donation, and everybody get their number. I already have my number, but for the people who are fearful.
Yeah, you're right. I can do that. But I'd rather them get over that fear of doing it.
Charge like $150 or $200.
Yeah, it can do that. They got to learn how to get over them fears.
I agree. I agree with
everybody. Right.
I agree with that. But I think that when everybody gets into their trust and everything, I think that a lot of that fear can dissipate without worrying about the Internal Revenue Service.
You're right.
But anyway, that's all I had. So peace to the gods. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right. Take care. Peace. All right. Yeah, that oregano is powerful. You know what? Oregano will get rid of sore throat quickly in about less than 24 hours. So since that came up, you take a little drop of bottle, because oregano is strong. It will burn. It burns when you take it. About 30 drops in a little dropper bottle. You can buy them off Amazon, the blue or green one. And then you got to use a carrier oil, like some cold pressed olive oil. You can use that. That's what I use. And take 35 drops of the oil of oregano. Put it in it, shake it up real good. There's your oregano. Get a sore throat, take a couple of drops, put it under the tongue or put it in there, swallow that. That'll get rid of that sore throat. It'll open it up. Yeah, oregano is very powerful. Oregano takes care of a lot of these so-called diseases that they're calling diseases too. Be taking oregano. When my daughter had a sore throat, I gave her a couple of drops of that. The next day it was So I know it works. I haven't taken over-the-counter medications in years. I don't get headaches. I don't remember the last time I had a headache. I've gotten like a pain go through and then it go away, but like a headache, I got a headache. Now, I've had migraines because I was eating some food that I wasn't supposed to eat, but like just a general headache, I don't have any. If you came to my house and you asked me for Tylenol or any of those things, I have none of that. I just take these herbs. That's it. And since I've been chemical medication free, my health has been optimal. So, all right, well, thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to the show, making the show a success. I appreciate everybody. Shouts out to all of those who's trying to stay conscious and working on their prosperity. So, as always, I will leave y'all with some Revalue for about an hour or so. If you want to stay on and listen, let's find a good one. I got some personal favorites that I like to listen to. There's certain ones that I listen to religiously. This is one of my personal favorites, but it's not my all-time favorites, but it's a good one. All right, peace.